Hello. I don't know why I did that, other than the fact that my wife has been telling me to play some guitar. I want to talk a little bit about constructing better stock portfolios. What does that have to do with the guitar? Absolutely nothing, other than when you construct a good song tends to have some elements to it, some diversification. It tends to have balance. A good song tends to have meaning. It does something. And same thing with a stock portfolio. So today I was doing a bunch of quant analysis on our existing stock portfolios. What's amazing to me is how a portfolio of well-selected stocks can have better diversification than an index fund, even when you only have, like, say, 30, 35 stocks in it. So why is that? Why can a stock portfolio of individual stocks have less risk, better diversification than an index fund that owns 500 stocks, 1,000 stocks? Some own 3,000 stocks, like the Russell 3000 or the VTI, Vanguard Total Index exchange traded fund, for example. Why is that? Well, a lot of it has to do with the selection of how you pick them. So one of the beautiful things of being able to invest in an individual stock portfolio is that you don't have to have your investments weighted based on the size of the company. That's one of the things that a lot of people may not realize, is that when you invest in an index fund, and then for that matter, most mutual funds in the stock, they tend to have a lot more money in the big stocks and a lot less money in the smaller stocks. And one of the things that they tend to do is they tend to have a lot more money in the sectors that have a lot of companies in it. So if you have a lot of, like, for example, right now, there's a ton of tech companies. And so the weighting is really big. So does it really make sense to invest that way? So I'm going to actually show you some statistics of one of our stock portfolios, which I think can kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about here. It demonstrates that you can have better diversification and better return potential, especially if you have other factors involved, that having an individual stock portfolio. So let's just dive in a little bit. So I'm going to actually switch over to this view, and you can take a look at it. So I'm actually going to look at, this is our US dynamic growth. So this is a stock portfolio that invests in large companies, mid-cap companies, small companies. And we target the portfolio to maximize, we seek to maximize the rate of return and target the risk level of the overall market. Well, the risk level of the overall S&P 500 is about a 75. We use a risk scoring system that is developed by Riskalyze, which is a really pretty cool way that actually shows like how much a portfolio can move up and down. And one of the things that they have in this portfolio construction toolkit is this concept of a GPA. And what that is, you can think of it as kind of like a scorecard that says how efficient is your portfolio. Efficient meaning how much return you can get for the amount of risk. And when you look at this, one thing that's beautiful about this stock portfolio is obviously there's no expense ratio involved. So you're not paying fees out to a mutual fund manager, which is excellent. And then you can actually get diversification. So one of the cool things, I'm going to dive into the stats of this particular portfolio. Now, keep in mind, this portfolio is a US stock portfolio. If you were to pull up, I'm calculating right now. So this kind of shows some of the trailing returns, up 9% over the 9.4% over the last 3 months, up 20% over the last 6 months, et cetera, et cetera. And what this shows is the amount of volatility that the portfolio has. And it's a forecast of the volatility upside and downside over a 6-month period of time. And the reason why we use 6 months is because 6 months is a very valuable number. We know that heuristically, or just the way people think, they tend to feel more comfortable around the 6-month time frame. And it's very important to look at that. This shows the model portfolio performance. This is the blue line. This is versus the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index that I was telling you about. So one of the things that's beautiful about this is if you come down here to this diversification, this is a really cool chart. What this shows is every single stock in the portfolio that we have in our model portfolio, our strategy that we manage for clients. And you can see the correlation, right, between these assets. And they're not correlated in a huge way. The overall average correlation is less than 0.5, meaning that a correlation is a number, statistical number goes from 0 to 1. 1 meaning that stocks move perfectly together, and 0 means they don't move at all together. So what this is basically showing is that we're able to get more of the upside capture. So this captures 105% based on the stats of the overall market, based on the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index, and only 98% of the downside capture. And this is just a historical number, but if you actually look at the efficiency of this portfolio, it actually gives you more efficiency, more diversification than an index fund. So that's the name of the game. The name of the game is to do better, right? The name of the game is to do better without having a ton of risk. And it's almost like a recipe. Like if you're a cook or if you're a chef, you put the right ingredients. If you put too much salt, it's not good. If you put, I made mole the other night, and my wife has an excellent recipe, and it's actually done in a slow cooker. And I made it yesterday, and it actually turned out luckily perfect. And what I noticed is that it needed a little bit less chipotle than the recipe counted for, and it needed a little more of the chocolate. And it actually made it just turn out just right. So same thing with a stock portfolio. You know, if you wanna be able to manage risk, I really think it's important to have a well-constructed portfolio. And if you want to be able to have good returns over time without sticking your neck out too far, that's one of the things I like to do. I want to also let you know, if you want to know what your risk number is, remember I showed you that number 75? We can actually do an analysis that says, what is your risk number? And based on your risk number, is your portfolio correctly aligned to you? And if your portfolio is correctly aligned to you, great. And then the question is if it's not, what should you do to get it better aligned? And is your portfolio have a good GPA? Does your portfolio have an efficiency to it where you're not taking unnecessary risks? And that's one of the things that you learn in finance. You never take unnecessary risks. You only take risks that you are compensated for. What is it? Haven't played that in a while. Anyway, so that's exactly the story. So a well-diversified portfolio is kind of like music. And if you didn't get a chance to listen to this or watch this, rewind it and watch it later. I'm going to get ready to go out. Hope you're having a great day, and we will talk to you later.